Last time I checked, this film got a worldwide release. Yeah, I think every eye has seen it by this point. For Your Eyes Only tells of a British spy ship that sadly sank, and along with it, an encoding device that held all of their nuclear launch codes. James Bond is sent on a mission to retrieve that device before the Soviets can get their own hands on it. After my disappointment with Moonraker, I hoped that since we were in a completely new decade and we're starting up the 80s, we're getting things going, my hope was that this would be more of a serious affair of action spy thrillers. And, I think for the most part, I gotta say, it's starting to head in that right direction. Kicking it all off with the positives, I gotta say, Roger Moore once again is just living it up and having fun as James Bond. The script is actually working in his favor this time by making it a much more serious affair where he actually cares about his duty and his mission, and he's thinking about that first and foremost. The love interest here is actually pretty fun and entertaining. She's given a deep and sad backstory all the way from the beginning of the movie that actually adds to a little bit more for her and Bond to connect, both having gone through loss and pain. And there's just something about adding a bit of a serious arc, especially one that's about revenge, that just works well with Bond. The villains here, I think, are a lot of fun. They feel real and good, and just ones that can really rough up James Bond himself. You have some henchmen that have like certain things that they can do, having like an iconic look or stare, played by actors that would go on to do a lots more stuff after this. And then our main guy seems like one who's an ally, but then it like twists and shifts, and we end up finding out that he's been the mastermind and the bad guy the entire time. And I think it works out well to do a film like that. The plot and the story itself, I think, is pretty simple and straightforward. James Bond is out to get this decoding device, and he teams up with his love interest on the way, and you just get a series of action and set pieces that just work to fit that for the story and the character development. Speaking of action, this might be one of the films for Roger Moore where it's his top best action ones of all time. We get a series of good little set pieces and action moments that call back to all the previous films. There's a good skiing one, car chase, underwater stuff, just all the best stuff. The camera work and the editing are just on point this time around, makes everything feel well executed, and really keeps the tension up top notch, never really giving you a sense of any dull moments or slowing down. The humor in this is also dialed way back, which is what I prefer. It's more situational, and overall, it just has like a few little jokes and laughs. It never finds a way to overdo it. This film really does take itself more seriously than the other ones. Mixed wise, I gotta give it to the main two that always either fits into here: music and effects. Music wise, I think it was really good with what they were doing. And then I think somewhere in the middle of it, I stopped noticing it altogether. Like it felt like it was dead air with the music. So I don't know what was up with that. The effects, on the other hand, once again, they stick out like a sore thumb. It's that green screen. I don't know what it is, but they can just never make it look like James Bond is actually driving the car or skiing or doing whatever he has to do. Negatively, I gotta say, there are some things I question about the plot. There's this big emphasis on, like, where's the sub? Where did it crash? Where did it go down? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it like crashed very shallowly somewhere around. How is Bond the only guy that's able to find this? The love interest, for some reason, kind of just dips out of the middle of the movie for some reason. Like, one of the major driving factors of this movie is that she can help find the device, and the fact that she's doing it to get revenge for her parents. I don't understand why you drop something that really works to build the characters up to kind of meander around in the snow or something. This is also one of those films that by the end of it, once we've gotten the device, we just destroy it. Now, you might say that, oh, Nick, that's not really a flaw. Well, it is when you could have just done that when you first found the device. You could have just blown up the sub and everything would have been done. Now, granted, you might be saying, well, Nick, then there wouldn't be a movie. Yes, but I would argue that it would actually make one of the scenes very more tense in the fact that they set off the bomb, it's about to blow up, but oh no, the bad guys come in and they get the device. Oh, we gotta go. It blows up, and now they're back to square one. They gotta go get the device again. I think there could be an argument here that this is one of the more forgettable James Bond films. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone's putting in the work to make this film be as good as it can be, but because it's kind of repeating old plot points and doing a lot of similar stuff to previous films, it doesn't really stand up on its own 2 feet as anything memorable. Well, it's a Bond film that basically cuts out all the issues of some of the previous films in favor of a more solid action spy thriller. While definitely not being the most memorable Bond film of them all, it definitely is pushing things forward in the right direction. And for that, I think I gotta give it 4 Lady Crossbow Killers out of 5. You know, if these Roger Moore films just kind of keep this same level of quality overall, I think we might end out on a high point for him as Bond. I guess only time will tell, as tomorrow we take a look at one of the most iconically and infamously named with Octopussy. Stay tuned. I'll see you all tomorrow again. Gear up and gear out.